What's up, everybody? Project Manga is back with episode 43 of the Special Grade Podcast. I'm your host, Knox.
Eagle.
And Mello.
And as you all know, on this show, we cover the Elusive Samurai, Ranger Reject, Shangri-La Frontier, Kaiju number 8, and Undead Unluck. Make sure that you take a look at the description down below for timestamps so you can skip spoilers for any segments that you are not yet current in. Once again, want to extend a huge thank you to all of you out there for coming together and subscribing to the highest level of support here and producing these special grade episodes. Couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much. And also as a reminder, make sure that if you are a special grade patron, that you connect your Discord account to your Patreon account so that you can come chat with us in the special grade, hidden special grade area of our Discord for a little bit more intimate conversation with your hosts. But, gentlemen, we got been a while since we've had to review anything. We've had a little bit of a break here again with Weekly Shonen Jump on break and whatnot, but I think we got all of the chapters here now, and let's just jump into the Elusive Samurai. Chapter 27, Wanting to Die, 1334. Oh, yeah, and I love this. I just want to say right away, I love this diagram that we have here. Yes. That kind of reminds you of power relations. You know, in the Shinano province, this is really important for a story like the Elusive Samurai, I feel like, because they do go so deep into the political situation and how, like, the society, like, moves legally and things like that. It can be a lot while that background plot is building up and while you're also getting character development for the main cast. So them giving us a very easy to read diagram here with all of the important information on it was right on time for Elusive Samurai, I want to say.
Yeah.
I like it. Super transparent. Definitely beats 2 pages dedicated of text.
Yeah, for sure. Which
Succinct.
Stories can totally do, you know what I mean? Like a lot of mangaka, I feel like, I don't want to say maybe don't know how to kind of do what Elusive Samurai is doing here in a very succinct manner, but sometimes they just kind of just make the decision not to for one reason or another. But I think it's always appreciated when it's as condensed and, you know, readable as possible. So
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. And like we know this artist is like a more veteran author. Mm-hmm. So like they've been able to like do this for a while, and they're able to just kind of like condense it all, kind of like Boichi.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. How do we all feel about this? I wasn't here last review, but how do we feel about Yasaburo and company? I think that this chapter is like so funny in regard to like seeing inside of their ranks and seeing how they operate, because the philosophy there makes sense for who they are in the time, but the levels that they take it to with the comedy and whatnot related to their personalities is just insane to me.
I think it's a very fair point, because like for them it's normal, this is totally reasonable, but like for the kids it's like it is comical, because it's like allowing yourself to martyr yourself for an intangible concept like honor. Like you're not even actually protecting the land, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, hey, we need to fight for this land. Land is all we have. You know, we're a feudal society where like if we don't control the land, we got nothing. And like we're just gonna fight.
Yeah.
But we're still gonna lose. And it doesn't it's like you're not even like gonna succeed from doing anything in this combat. So it is like ludicrous, you know, to think about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Taking honor to the next level to a fault, like
wow.
Yeah,
to the next couple levels, bro. Like holy shit, we got money over here. What did he say? It's like way later in the chapter, I want to say, but like the funniest moment was when dude with like the low detail, like Family Guy quality face was basically like talking about how that was in the last chapter, how if he gets decapitated.
That's in this chapter.
Oh, that is in this chapter
on page 3.
On page 3.
He's just like, if I'm decapitate, my head's gonna squirm up the enemy's butt, gobble his innards before erupting from his chest with a smile.
Like, whoa, brother, where does that come from?
You know, hey, still waters run deep. It's always the quiet ones.
Yeah, for real.
Yasaburo kind of looks like an otter.
Oh my god, yeah, he does.
Which is funny, because he's like, he wants to hold hands with everyone to die by a river.
Oh my god, dude, that's totally on purpose.
Is it?
Yeah, a lot of the characters, you know, in this manga look like, you know, animals in a way.
That's true. That's totally true.
I
Ichikawa
definitely
looks
would
like a
not.
squirrel, fucking, or a mouse or whatever, like a rat or something because of his ears. And then Sadamune, I don't know what Sadamune is really supposed to look like animal-wise, but there are quite a bit of
Chihuahua.
No.
You know I'm right.
Wow,
Look
you
into your
are.
heart and know that I am right.
That's hilarious. Holy shit, the bug-eyed chihuahua. I'm not gonna get that out of my mind now.
He's like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, and he's always at your ankles.
He's an ankle biter. Watch out for him.
That's hilarious, bro. We got the Shinomiya Montaro, which seems to be the more reasonable, rational-minded member of this crew, and it looks like he kind of uses his rank to convince, you know, the Yasaburo's people to move to a more strategic area to fight at the very least if they aren't going to retreat. And we see how the tactics of Fubuki kind of come in place there once they're in position. So as far as like war tactics go, it's really impressive how Matsui is able to balance all of this stuff in the midst of chaos and in the lead up to chaos, during and afterwards. Everything always feels so planned and so neat, and like it's falling into place on a puzzle board. You know what I mean? Which is kind of, I want to say, hard to do, and when you're talking about war, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I really appreciate, like, once again, I'm always going to comment on the clothes. Like, Shinomiya, he's the reasonable one, right?
Yeah.
His clothes literally have squares in them. He's the square of the group. Everyone else has plant-based stuff. Our otter guy, he has kind of like a wild plant-looking thing. Like it's not prim and proper like the noble side or anything. And like
the
even
soft-faced dude has like grass all over.
Yeah, like wild
shit.
Rice.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, wild rice. Okay. And
so
then
it's
this
like,
dude is just squares. That's hilarious.
Yeah. No, I just like, oh, this is perfect. But like the enemy forces, it's all like really pretty flowers and stuff. The other one's like kind of like more rough flowers and plants.
Yeah, that's totally right. That's awesome.
But Shinomiya being a square is hilarious.
Yes, it is, because he looks like one too. He's got
like
that like brow design that like always makes him look like he's like unsure or worried. You know what I mean? It's always like that concave, you know, like eyebrow furrow, where he's like, are we gonna make it out of this? I don't know if we should. Like just more reserved, you know what I mean? Like more apprehensive.
He looks like that guy that's constantly being told, hey, we're doing overtime. Can you stay? And he's just like, fine, please. Just leave my cubicle. I'll do it. I don't want to do it. I don't like doing it.
But I'm not going to say no.
But I'll do it.
Yeah.
That's why you keep me.
That's awesome.
On
I love
staff.
That. I love that. So it looks like Sadamune said, fuck this. I got pink eye. I can't pull up.
Pink eye. It's too busy brown nosing, man. Got pink eye.
Yeah. That's oh man, one thing I wanted to comment on was page 8, when, you know, Genba kind of like throws a little like, you know, diss at Tokiyuki. He's like, victory by flight. Only you would enjoy such a plan. And maybe it's not a diss, but I just remember reading that. I was like, oh, this motherfucker's kind of throwing a jab at my dude here. And then Tokiyuki was like, yep, that's right. I love this shit, fam. And it's like just leaning into, you know, not insults, but, you know, like just think about like another main character.
Playful ribbing.
Yeah, another shonen main character would be like, what'd you say? You think I'm, you know what I mean? And like Tokiyuki does have those moments, but like when it comes to being a coward or elusive or running, you can't make fun of him. Like he embraces that. Like he leans all the way into that shit, and he's excited about it. So
I mean, he is the like generational. Like his story is that of a generational shift.
Absolutely.
And I think that's great. Like, and our enemy commander, I like that his idea is he's like, war is a paradise of sin unavailable at court. And I'm like, oh man, he's got the affluenza. This is like, he kind of looks like the Joker in like my favorite form of that, where one who is so rich that they're detached from reality.
Yeah.
And so they're just like, yeah, I'm just here to thrill seek, however that is. And I'm going to use my excess money that I can't even spend in one lifetime to do so. And it's just like, chilling.
And I love how, you know, he's taking advantage of the kind of chaos of the Hojo clan shift after the massacre in Kamakura, and then Go Daigo Emperor gives, you know, these people more power over that area now that it's been sieged, and he's just going wild with that. He's like, fuck the laws, your complaint about the laws is never going to reach Go Daigo, because our people
You'll die here if I have to.
Exactly, you'll die here, and if you want to go tell, you got to go past, you know, how many of my people, you know what I mean? So it's like, we're taking your land, we're taking your money, and you're not going to do anything about it until someone, you know, changes this shit from the inside out. Obviously, a revolution is what we're building towards. So it's cool to see what it looks like in corrupt positions of power, you know, before and during a revolution. You know what I mean?
I mean, people like that will always show up. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's always going to be people that will step up in power vacuums, step up and be like, hey, this is my time to, like, it's my era, right? Like, everyone's like, that's the difference between like corrupt people and like people that are like actually like strive to be good, like Tokiyuki. Because Tokiyuki, like, he's been given a lot of chances to take like an easy solution, and he's like, no, I can't do that. I need to do it right. Like, it's an ongoing active effort. It's a lot of effort. Whereas the others are like, yeah, no, this is easy. I can just tell people to do things for me.
Yes.
What do you guys think of this, like, kind of like fight stuff with the next like 4 pages?
Yeah,
like 6 pages.
I love everything about it. This is what I was talking about earlier in regard to the storytelling. Always feel like it's falling neatly into place. There's always just enough build up for something. The events that happen that don't have build up, that are outside of expectations, always kind of fit in with the narrative that we already have there. So it is surprising, but it also isn't jarring ever. The pacing always feels so right in the Elusive Samurai, you know, and Yusei Matsui is just showing his experience at all times in this series. Like, it's like, this is one that he thoroughly cares about, just like Assassination Classroom. I haven't read that, but I know that that's like, you know, a lot of people's favorite series, or one of their favorite series, you know what I mean? So it just feels like this mangaka is just never lacking. Like, ever.
Is that
in
actually
any regard.
his series? I had no idea.
Oh, you didn't know? You didn't know that was Yusei Matsui?
I've never watched Assassination Classroom, but like, I know that it's extremely popular. So like, knowing that
for sure
is really interesting. Like, that makes a lot of sense. He definitely has his chops, and he consistently tries to use pretty much like the breadth of his tricks in his bag, you know, so to speak. Like, he's always like, hey, I have these tools because I'm experienced. I'm gonna keep using those tools as long as they work.
Absolutely.
But I also really like the fight sequence, and the smoke screen from Genba is really tight.
Fire.
Literal fire.
Yeah, literal fire.
I really like,
got a fish cooking on it too.
That's the best part for me. That's the best part. He's just like, hey, you know what? It's hard to sabotage. Can't sabotage an army in an empty stomach. You know?
This is just efficiency. You know what I mean? And it's the kind of efficiency that you can expect not just from a comedic character in this situation, but it's also like, he's a ninja, you know what I mean? So it's like, this is the kind of shit you see them. They're very frugal. They're very, you know, reserved. They're very, you know, this makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, if I'm going to be up here anyway, causing a smoke screen, I'm kind of hungry anyway. I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. Boom, boom, boom. I'm off to my next shit.
Whoop, whop.
Yeah, exactly. I love the Kojiro panel of him coming through and just slicing the back of this dude's neck. I think that the perspective on that is great. The art is never a problem in the Elusive Samurai, but I also love how, and I feel like we talked about it in these reviews before, but I love how this cast, Yusei Matsui is writing, you know, a story where the main cast are children, but it is war, and it is a historical series, you know, to a certain degree. So, like, he's not afraid to let his main characters kill. And the nonchalantness, like, of it, you know what I mean? Like, just in passing, slice a dude's neck off. It's not this huge character moment where they're sitting and thinking about it, or you know, regretting it or anything like that. Like, this is the way they have to live. This makes sense in a story about war. These kids are involved in war. They're going to kill people. Having that shonen, you know, reservation about murder and killing just doesn't make sense in a series like that. And Yusei Matsui doesn't even try to dress it up. He's just like, this makes sense, so they're going to do it, and it's gonna be in your face. And that's the kind of story that you have here, you know. And I love that about it.
Straight decapitates, buddy. And then the pineapple head dude is just like, yo.
Yeah. I'm good.
And the tightest thing about that decapitation panel is the fact that the hanging parts of his headband are sliced into along with his neck.
Yes, the attention to detail.
Every little detail. Like page 16 is so good for me because you have that downward slash. It cuts into the paneling that zigzags, and then his sword also zigzags again. It lightnings across the page.
Yes, it does.
Ugh,
fire!
So good,
fire.
And then Otterface is like, that kid's got grit. He's like, that boy will die with us, and you just see that Tokiyuki like lightning flash. He's like, he finally understands exactly what these people are about.
Yeah, and
he's like, oh, I get it. He's like, little, not light bulb moment, but like little candle pops above his head, and he's just like, I understand now, and I don't like it.
Yeah, like these are my retainers, bro. Like these are the people who are going to lead me into revolution. Like these aren't your typical meathead, bandit, soldier, berserkers. You know what I mean? Like these are the hand of the king. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't, you can't just willy-nilly throw my mans out, you know what I mean, into your little, like, he's not like y'all, and y'all need
not my meat grinder, not my problem.
Yeah, like y'all need to chill the fuck out.
this is my boy, not your sausage. Get out of here. Because it follows up I think that like the kind of like the page following at 18, it really drives home the idea. Like they're just, they're bloody faced, they're exulting in it, they're struggling with it, and then I think that like 19 has one of the hardest lines of dialogue in my mind.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, Hoshina, I have no interest in the manner of your death.
Yeah, exactly.
I could give a shit how you die,
buddy. Yeah. And you're not going to sacrifice my retainers. And see, like, this is cool. I wasn't here last time that y'all reviewed this, but like there was a moment in the previous chapter where Kojiro is thinking about the strategy going into this little like skirmish that they're having here, and he's like, man, okay, so Yorishige said that Tokiyuki's going to survive, but does that mean he survives because I'm stuck to him like glue protecting him? If I'm stuck to him, then that means that other people are going to die over here. How do I know where I need to be? And Tokiyuki, like very shortly after that, was like, you get bored just watching me the whole time, so make sure you're like being a general for everyone else too. And it's just very subtle ways that I feel like Yusei Matsui shows the bond strengthening between the retainers and Tokiyuki, because I feel like we're going to get all of these very little subtle one-on-one, interactions that really bring the group together, so where it doesn't always have to be them partying around a fire, and talking to each other. It can be very subtle and very, offhanded panels here and there where you just go, yo, I feel more for this group now. I feel like I'm growing with this group now. I feel like I'm learning more about them as they're learning more about each other. But it's not like always the focus of an entire chapter. It happens very swiftly, and it happens very focused, and it's potent every time. And like that's the kind of world building that makes the most sense in a chaotic world like this one. So
yeah, I think that like, because like in like Tokiyuki, the small scale stuff with his group, it's like a narrow focus, and it's just like, hey, this is what we want to do. I want to trust you. I'm going to delegate you. I'm not going to put you to a job I don't think you can succeed. We're not the Suicide Squad over here. And then like immediately the chapters following that, the pages following that, it's all about these guys who are just like, hey, we don't care. We're going to take everything and we're going to throw everything at the wall, bash our heads in, and then bleed out. Like, we're done. Like,
bash our heads in and bleed out.
Hell yeah, bro.
Autobots bleed out. Hell no. I can see it too.
Their skulls against the wall until they fucking die.
Part of me, like, you know what I mean? Because this group is so rambunctious and so loud and so about their shit, part of me like wants to see what it looks like when they go out in a blaze of glory, since they're fucking hyping it up so much. But obviously we know they're not going to. But it's like, I just love the energy inside of this group, as ridiculous as it is.
Oh, absolutely.
I like want to see their arcs finish in the way that they're talking about. It's like Leonidas in 300, Thermopylae versus the Persians.
I like it because when so many of them are so about it, and it's the societal norm, it's so hard to like fight against that kind of peer pressure.
Yeah.
It's hard not to get swept into that current of just like mob mentality kind of stuff. And so I like that Tokiyuki's fight is not just against the opposing general. It's within his own society, within his own ranks.
Yeah.
And just like, I really like that because he's kind of fighting for the spirit of the Hojo people.
Absolutely.
Right now.
I feel like they all are, but they don't know he's connected. You know what I mean? And they have different ways of going, because obviously it's like, these are Suwa people. Yorishige wants them to come back so that they can be a complete unit again because they're behind enemy lines or whatever. You know what I mean? So they all share the same ambition as Tokiyuki. Obviously, some of them are in the dark about who Tokiyuki actually is. But at the end of the day, it's showing a conviction for the overall philosophy that everyone on the protagonist side shares. They're just really disrespected by the Kamakura stuff with Go Daigo giving power to Sadamune and everybody else and how they've chosen to go about using that power. That pride has kind of trumped that overall duty. You know what I mean? So like there's conflict there in regard to philosophy, but at the end of the day there's a core common denominator binding element for everyone involved, and I feel like that's shown like kind of subtly. It's like a read between the lines kind of thing. You don't realize, at least me personally, until we were talking about it now, I never really thought about like how present that vibe was in these last couple of chapters. You know what I mean? So it's not something that I think is really supposed to be focused on, but it's something that you just kind of unconsciously feel inside of the cast of characters since we've met them, a couple chapters ago. You know what I mean? So like that's just like one outlook that I wanted to throw out there in regard to Yasuburo and Co. But
like how does one show a person's dedication?
Right.
Like through their actions, through their choices. Like how are they expressing themselves?
Yeah. It just feels good to know that even though these are diametrically opposing philosophies and personalities, that there is still a common denominator inside of the support of the Hojo. You know what I mean? It really makes it feel right away like a family, and even though these characters are brand new and they're arguing the entire time. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's about to be like Thanksgiving dinner, just fights.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. This is like the next major conflict since the introduction of Fubuki, and we all know how much we love that arc. With Tokiyuki versus Shokan and everything. But that was a very concentrated sneak in the back, do some things, sneak out the front. Kind of shit. And like there's a lot of sneaking going around because Genba's involved, so there's always going to be ninja shit. But this seems like way more of a battleground battle instead of take the general away and fight him over here kind of situation, which Tokiyuki could eventually end up doing in some regard because that's his fighting style. But like overall, this is a very different atmosphere compared to the last conflict. So like it's cool that we're going to be seeing all of the different areas of war inside the life of Tokiyuki and this revolution. So
I do like Fubuki's use of water being like one of the most dangerous forms of natural defense. Like using the terrain, I'm always a slut for that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's true warfare.
It sure is. Dumb excited for this next chapter, bro. Did you guys have anything else for 27 though?
No, just Otter's furrowed brows at page 19.
Yeah, look at that.
Just like mask of fury. I want to see if he turns on Tokiyuki a little bit.
Oh man, I could see it being one of those like Todo and Yuji kind of situations where
it's like how dare you disagree with me? I'm gonna strike you down.
Yeah, you're just the Chad douchebag until you see the shining quality in someone who's like above you, character wise, you know what I mean? And you go, okay, well that's the person that we should all be listening to. And then you kind of show your real personality. You're still a Chad douchebag, but now your energy is focused in a more likable way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not perceiving you as an enemy.
Right. But yeah, okay, I think that about does it for chapter 27 of the Elusive Samurai. All right, getting into Ranger Rejects, chapter 25, the Bylong exams facing the Green Invader. How do we feel?
This definitely threw me here at the beginning because I did expect him to maybe do some shit.
Yeah.
Like, but the way he just walked past him.
Yeah.
And just walked off. I'm like, okay, he's obviously gonna like try and sneak him, but I didn't expect him to come right back.
So ballsy. So ballsy.
Type
some Michael Myers shit.
Like,
yeah.
And this that would be horrifying. Like, oh man, we got this dude just lurking.
Yeah.
And he at any moment could come out and just like, like, yo, this shit.
But see, another thing,
why
though,
would I ever fight fair?
Another thing, though, is that like this is going back into how comic books are the medium that can abuse cinematic time the most. You know what I mean? Because like, how long does it take him to walk away from these? Like, he walks away from them, and they're like, whatever, he's a scumbag, let him go. Then he comes back and sneaks them and just bounces off again. It's like, why ain't y'all chasing him and beating his ass? Like, this is scary that he's always looming around, but he literally just came within arm's reach of you and then ran away on his feet. It's 5 of y'all. Like, why are y'all worried about where this man could be when y'all should have just hemmed him up when he tried to sneak y'all and body slam his shit? Like, why did y'all let him get away? You know what I mean? Because it's like,
I think it's because he's so fast. Like,
maybe
he's
fast.
Chapter, they say that his escape skills are the only noteworthy thing.
Well, that was because the girl like yoinked him into the car when she said that. But he is fast.
He is,
and he obviously is nimble and quiet because he can sneak up on everybody. That's the thing I think is really they just kind of got snuck. Like nobody but Shion
really reacted. Yeah, but then he has to land from his aerial strike and then take off in a specific direction. That's so much time for people to turn around and see what's happening. But if he is just fast and he's like the fast one, he's super speedy, and that was like a point of dialogue, then like, yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. Then I just forgot that. But I'm sitting here going like, man, y'all had to have seen where he went, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, go get his ass.
At the end of the day, like, I think they don't really want to kill each other, right?
Sure.
Like, you can see in this top right panel on page 5 for me where you got the black haired dude and the blonde chick or whatever, kind of bracing themselves. See, you know, the black haired dude looks like he's maybe reaching for his little pistol or whatever.
Yeah, he got his hand behind the back on
his weapon, and they're like, "Oh, this guy, how underhanded!" And then like the next panel we get of him after that is him already like bouncing. So like they all braced themselves, and then he was just like, "Skirt."
Nope. They're like,
and like they're like, "What the fuck, yo?"
Oh yeah, and I wasn't here last week or whatever, the last episode. So like I at least want to have the conversation about like how this development of Shion teaming up with all of the other, color candidates looking for keys and betraying D, when we've literally been talking the whole time about how beautifully his intro douchiness, redemption, pathos, squad member type shit we've been liking Shion and the execution on bringing him up as a squad member just for him to be like, fuck you. And it's cool because D, is sitting there going like, don't forget I'm a villain. I'm gonna betray the shit out of these motherfuckers. And you always get sneaks back to like, as far as D comes as Sakurama and as human as he gets, the mangaka makes sure to just inject every now and then the like root foundational personality of D, which is, these are my goals, fuck humans, fuck the Dragon Keepers, I'm killing them all, we're doing this shit, I'm a bad guy. But like, you almost don't want to believe it. You're like, okay, he's obviously a little bit more human, boo, 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 boo. We're gonna see a beautiful evolution here. And then all of a sudden it's, nope, I'm betraying these motherfuckers the first chance I get. And then you're like, oh, well, what does that mean for Shion? Because I kind of like Buddy. He's obviously capping, he's soft, they're friends, and then Shion's on the same shit. So you're like, oh wait, now that's really serious though, because it's different when D does it, because you want to assume the humanization is going to continue and there's going to be a balance there in regard to who he is as an invader and how he feels about humanity. He's the main character. You expect those kind of things from him, but a twist inside of Shion in the same way. And he even says it in the chapter. He's like, it makes sense for me, but when you do it, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? And it's like,
that's criminal.
Yeah, that's criminal. You know what I mean? It's just beautiful, beautiful decision making and execution from the mangaka on that. And the way that D handles it, you know what I mean, is like, all right. We both playing the same game here. I thought, he could be heartbroken because they built up, like, you had the blue team invader, that they're fighting against sat next to him, was like, what about your friend? And he's like, Shion, that's not my friend, fuck that guy. And you're like, you like his ass, you know, and then boom, you know, like into the betrayal, and you're like, oh my god, it was just such a perfect, completely unexpected turn of events. And I love the execution into leaning into the building up of Shion as an ally beforehand, because he was already introduced as a douche. So you go from bad guy, could be friend, back to bad guy again. It's like you never see that, I feel like. You know what I mean?
I like it. It really emphasizes kind of the hypocrisy of good or bad.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's like you are a person, you have chosen a side, and you have made questionably moral choices. And that works for me. Like, it really emphasizes there are no good guys in this entire scenario.
Yes, and that's the best
except
vibe.
for the people that choose to be.
It's just
choose to be good.
A clashing of philosophies is all it is. Like different, like moral alignment is all over the spectrum. It's all over the board. Chaotic, neutral, lawful, good. All of that shit is apparent in, you know, some of these characters, but at the end of the day, there's no black and white. You know what I mean? There's no there's what's implied, but yeah,
they're also being forced to be bad here by this scenario, right? Like even we get with this blue guy, who, you know, we started to get his backstory, and funnily enough, you know, D is like, shut the fuck up, I don't care. Just stop right now. Just so spare me these fucking backstories, you goddamn.
He did say that. He said, I'm gonna tell you right now. We don't care.
Yeah,
we don't
he
care.
said, hey, he's like, yo, stop right there. Yeah. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Like, seriously. And the dude's like, huh? What? And like, he's taken aback by it.
He's like, ain't this a shonen? Aren't you supposed to hear this?
My talk no jutsu is not working.
Yeah, like, what you mean? Guy. Don't the audience need this?
But we get that, like, these dudes on the blue squad, you know what I'm saying? They've been friends since they were 7.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the little bit we do get before he's interrupted is just like the perfect injection in that moment, cut off by a great decision in the story. Yeah,
where we get this dude most likely didn't want to betray his fucking best friend of fucking however many years. I don't know how old they are exactly, but
yeah,
they've been friends since they were 7. He probably didn't want to betray him, but he's like, yo,
yeah,
and it's. I don't know. He probably said some shit along the lines of like, "You ain't never want to be a ranger anyway," type shit. Like,
dude, I love the new character Usakubo. Like, zoom in on her.
Yeah. I don't think she's that new. I think we've known her this entire arc. Yeah.
She's been around for a while, but I like this line of, thank you, Usakubo. You were like a guardian angel back there. And she's like, I don't know how I feel about that one either. And just zoom in on her face. It's very idyllic. It's very angelic. But I like the hair clips look like devil horns.
Oh, the hair clips do look like devil horns.
Yeah, she's probably gonna have like the worst personality. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be that like duality. You know what I mean? It's
Tsundere.
Gonna be like external is gonna be all timid. Oh, Sakurama-chan. And then like as soon as shit hits the fan, it's gonna be. You know what I mean? Like some other shit. Like
she's gonna be fucking. I bet she's gonna be a little weapons, cold, like fucking, like goddamn. Why am I blanking on the doctor's name? Kureha. She's gonna be like,
oh yeah,
Kisama! Start throwing fucking shit. Like,
or it's just gonna be a very demonic, stoic, lifeless, emotionless murder machine.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like maybe not enraged. Yeah.
Like their eyes when she looks at him and she's like, your face is just screaming, don't wanna. Yeah. You know, her face is just, she's like, oh yeah, I see you dead to rights. I've noticed you and I'm already disappointed.
Yes.
I mean, another good parallel to draw, like character wise, could be Izumi from Full Metal Alchemist, right? Like, because she's very caring, you know, very loving, but also can flip on the fucking on a turn of a dime and just
but
beat the shit out of you and go crazy.
When Izumi flips, it's like a hard ass to ultimate hard ass transition. Like you could always tell inside of Izumi that like she's not one to be
pretty hard
with. Yeah, you know what
There's
I mean?
A core
and
there,
then when it really matters, you see a new level of that. But this flip would be more like a diametrically opposing personalities, and then one is like fluffy Bubbles from Powerpuff Girls,
one soft,
and then the other
sharp.
side is fucking Buttercup. Yeah, exactly. So it's like
yeah,
that'd be cool to see. I want to hold on real quick. I want to go back to Kugumo, right? The one that has like the afro, the Mineta haircut going.
Bandana boy.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that and I kind of already started to talk about it before, but like the way that the backstory is kind of given for him, it works obviously for comedy. You know what I mean? In how Sakurama kind of says, like, I don't give a fuck about that shit. But there's just like subversions everywhere. Because in a shonen, as soon as you go back into this flashback kind of situation where he's in school, I was just happy watching, talking about like him and his relationship with this other candidate. You know what I mean? Like, that's still development. Like, that's still information. Like a little bit to give us to gnaw on, to think about and assume things about, but then the subversion of Sakurama being like, I don't care. You know what I mean? So now it's funny, and now it's a subversion in regard to shonen storytelling tropes where you let niggas get their backstories. You know what I mean? Like, they always get them. But now he's just like, no. You know, but you still got a little bit, so it works literally everywhere in what the mangaka was trying to do there. And I just think that was a masterful
it's a great subversion of trope.
Yeah.
I think that Bandana Boy is gonna be Kogumi. I think he's going to be like almost like a Q, right? Like, he's gonna be the handyman, really good with maintenance. He's probably gonna help like tweak weapons. It's like, hey, here's the Dragon Blaster. I'm gonna tweak it so that you can like add a little bayonet to it or something.
Exactly.
I wonder.
It's gonna be like a Usopp.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I feel like he's gonna be like that. He's not tough, he's not strong, but like.
But he's a tinkerer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's that personality you don't expect to really need in a clutch situation.
But if you're trying to like be an army, you need a guy like that.
True. It's very true.
I wonder if they're like locked into their colors right now, because especially since they only found 4 people for their squad.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this dude with, you know, the afro, Kogumi, can't just be like, fuck it, I'm about to go, you know, I don't know. They have right now, they have a green person.
Yeah.
They have Sakurama red, they have the blue guy, and they have the pink guy.
Right. I think so.
So they need the yellow guy.
Yeah, they need yellow.
Why can't this afro dude just be like, fuck it, I'll go yellow. Hey, come over to the squad, buddy.
Right,
you know
because
I'll
thing
forgive you.
The thing about the situation that's so cool is like, okay, so there were 2 teammates that were teamed up to try to get, you know, 1 key from a specific colored invader. You know what I mean? And that was who they were paired with. But it doesn't matter, you know, which key they get from who right now, I don't think.
As long as there's 5, I think.
As long as there's 5, because they're all colorless, they're candidates, they're just trying to pass the exam.
Yeah.
So what's cool about this situation is it's very genius that you would create a conflict in the form of everyone figuring out how the keys work and going, okay, well, if we're all competing with each other, 1 person from each team up with 1 person from each other team so that you all work together to get 1 key, and then you're all good because there's only 1 of you instead of 2 of you. You know what I mean? So like, that's cool. Then that creates the dynamic of the ones who didn't originally go with that plan being the opposers on their own team of 5. You know what I mean? So like, now that's kind of what they're building up towards here, is that Shion and the other 4 douchebags who abandoned their partners are all trying to get 1 key each. Then the ones that got abandoned are all now teaming up with Sakurama. But here's the thing, is that 4 keys have already been confirmed to be on, you know, to have been collected. So there's going to be 2, or
I thought it was 3.
Or 3. My bad. 3. Red, pink, green. So there's yellow and blue still out there. So you could see a situation where they're all fighting each other 5v5. And then the 2 that haven't gotten their keys yet are easy to be persuaded to come over to the other side, because the 3 that have keys are going to be fighting to keep those keys. The other 2 don't have their keys yet, and you can convince them to be like, why are you working with them? Work with us, we'll beat them, and then, you know, the key stuff, we'll figure it out later. Like, that could totally be like a point of conflict in relation to who switches on who once these 5v5 teams start fighting.
Yeah, because I feel like you could do the one where like they're like, Egan, man, I thought you came to be a ranger with your buddy. Like, that was your big thing. You're gonna leave him behind. You're gonna go with some guy who's failed every attempt at passing this test. So he basically jump-started his strategy to take advantage of this. You're gonna have that guy be your ally. You want that guy watching your back. He's weak. He couldn't do it. This is his last shot. Go with your friend. you have talent, that kind of thing. Like, he could totally turn him on him.
I would be here for the turn. You know what I'm saying? The Urabe turn on him.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. For friendship on them. You understand?
I mean, it's the most cynical shonen like reverse Uno attack. Speaking of reverse Unos,
we didn't get any bit of the interaction with Urabe and Kogumi, so maybe it turns out he is just a piece of shit, and he like legit was like, "Fuck you, you fucking little scrawny piece of afro shit."
I just want someone to look at me like,
I never fucked with you in the first place, you fucking cowardly bitch. Like
scrawny little afroed fuck.
I liked having it hanger on. You got to build an entourage eventually. That kind of thing.
Goddamn coat tailor.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's hilarious.
Yumeko's the last ranger.
Yeah.
She's so scary.
She's like, the most hard body, I would say.
And that she'd be like, "Hey, Sakurama, I'm gonna help you because I know it's you."
Yumeko, that's the one who throws the knives. She's got the big bow in her hair. No, Yumeko is the girl from the beginning of the series that originally wanted to team up with D. So wait, that's her at the end?
She's yellow.
So wait, who is the girl with the knives that's green? That's green. Hisui.
Yeah, who's been chasing me? Yeah.
So wait, we haven't even seen. So wait, have we known that Yumeko is like the yellow invader? Yeah, we have known that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so confused. The designs are like too close, maybe for me, or maybe it's just been a while.
Yeah,
but like,
Yumeko has got more of a.
She was the one who they tried to hit with the truck, wasn't she?
Yeah, Hisui is the one in like the long, old school delinquent schoolgirl outfit, like super long skirt.
I can't even remember what Yumeko is wearing because the chapter ends after a fucking close up. So.
She's got kind of like a standard jumpsuit and jacket.
Yeah.
Oh,
she's more of a traditional ranger.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Jumpsuit,
yes, absolutely. That'll be the perfect. Separation or whatever difference.
The other one's more of a dressed up as like an old school girl delinquent.
That's right. You are totally right. Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, you do bring up a good point there, Mello. I wonder if she doesn't just say, "Look, y'all need some leverage. Here's this key." You know what I'm saying?
I'd rather Sakurama become a ranger. I need more people like him. Yeah. And then his squad's just like, "Oh shit, we're working with the invader? Fuck yeah, this is hilarious."
And you know that
and they don't have the yellow squad mate.
Yeah, they don't.
So they just get the yellow invader.
Well, see, and another thing is that Yumeko's already teamed up with D. I don't know if they've had another interaction with each other after the sacred weapon, stealing arc. You know what I mean, that we had or whatever. Yeah. So like, she'll probably find out that Sakurama is D and want to fuck with him anyway. I'm very surprised that D decided to reveal himself to Kugumo.
Well, he didn't. Kugumi hit him.
Or Kugomi. I can't remember what it was exactly. But he did hit him. He did hit him.
Kogumi.
Ranmaru
Kogumi.
Yeah. Kogumi did hit him, but I feel like D could have just dodged that if he didn't want to be revealed. I feel like he let him hit him because it worked for
the ultimate
his
reverse,
point.
Psychological warfare.
Right, exactly. Like, this is just wild to me. Like, I was like, I'm like, you telling me too many people, brother?
Maybe. I mean, maybe he did.
You don't even know this man.
But it seemed to me like it was kind of a quick thing where he's just kind of talking shit or whatever, like standing there, like, "Damn, you really just got hoed like this, and now you're done."
Yeah.
And
you're done.
He's just like, "What the hell would you know?" Like swings, just boom, like and like just hits him. I don't know. I mean, we did talk about how he's fast with good reflexes, but I think maybe he could have just kind of snuck him.
I think he took it. I think he took it. I think he snuck the other person out there, and he's like, "Get him out of the way," and he's like gonna talk to this guy. He's like, "Hey man, this and that," and he's probably just gonna threaten him, right? Like, he's just like, "Hey man, if you don't do it, I'm an invader. I'll fucking slit your throat." Like, go do what I want you to do. I'll make sure you die if you don't. Like, But also, I love that like reverse. He's like, "Hey man, you gave up after one loss. All I know is loss."
Yeah,
I love that. We're both losers. Let's work together. And the guy's just like, "Right. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
He said he'll absolutely love to help, right? Please. I like the old school art on the doors, like the old Chinese style locks.
Yes.
Especially because like the Bailong exam, it literally means white dragon.
I knew
like
that
in
was a Chinese word, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Long is
didn't know
dragon.
that I didn't put the aesthetic of the door, I didn't link that. Like that's a really cool fucking spot.
Yeah, if you go to like China and like you see like hutongs and stuff, you'll definitely see like locks like that. It's old school, very much Monkey King kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're totally right.
And I like that it's called the White Dragon exam because they're not colored.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just love little naming is so important to a series, especially manga. Like name is so important.
Yeah, and you want to know what I feel like that is like a major thing in the East is like naming conventions inside of everything outside of characters. You know what I mean? Like you look at Western media, and you're like, okay, House Stark, and then Stark members, you know what I mean, and things like that. So you have naming conventions that work in that way. And things that belong to the house are obviously named after the house. But you get a lot more like quirky Easter egg naming conventions in Eastern media, I want to say, especially manga and like anime. You know what I mean?
Like it's definitely an Eastern thing. Like in China specifically, I'm speaking from my personal experience, is that people name their kids based on the hopes that they have for that kid. So like my name is Tianmu, right?
Yeah.
And so that's like Heaven's Shepherd. The guy named after the Monkey King, his position when he was taking care of the horses in heaven, because I was born in the year of the horse. My dad said, hey, I want him to be looked out for. I want him to have spirit. I want him to, be able to take care of things, but also like, do what needs to be done. And I was like, all right, cool. That's a great name.
That's tight.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dude. And it's just like stuff like that. So like I knew a guy who was born at the change of the millennium when 2000 like he was born at like early 2000s, right? Like on 2000, and he's like his name basically translated to new clock, like new time, like new time. And so his parents wanted him to be symbolic of the change of the new era.
Yes.
Right. And so it's like, oh man, that's really cool. And cool little kid. I was like, all right, kid, go you.
And it's like, what's your name over here in America? It's like Derek.
Yes.
Right.
He's 21 now.
Yeah.
Kid, yeah, I dated myself.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's all right.
Everyone knows we're old as fuck. Well,
I've got a goatee. What's
I was just gonna say he's probably out in a bar just being a fucking douchebag.
That new clock, man. He's on that devil time.
New goddamn clock, yo.
I represent a change, a generational shift. Okay, I'm important.
What a pitch! What a pitch!
He's in Portland, Oregon right now.
Good for him.
All right, are we good on Ranger
Reject?
Reject? Yeah, I'm good too. Good job.
Oh, yeah.
Good shit. All right, getting into Shangri-La Frontier, Chapter 52, Bird plus Rabbits versus Skull Choir. How do we feel?
I really like this episode.
Man.
Yeah.
It's like, because like, I like almost every episode of Shangri-La Frontier.
Right,
but,
right. No misses yet, in my opinion.
But specifically, like the part that I really quite like is that like the interaction of buffs, debuffs.
Yes.
Yes.
And then like I love, like you guys know I play D&D, so like I love tooling around with creatures with having like specific immunities, specific vulnerabilities, strengths, all these different things. You have to have 5 things to combine to make a sword, a MacGuffin to like make it effective. Right. And I love the interaction between the Skull Choir and the bird. And like the weapons, and like, does this affect it? No, it's not. It's not. It does not have the right attributes.
Yeah.
And then like, because like most of like at first it starts off pretty simple in this chapter. They're just like, yeah, no, this is a really simple path, and they're like, man, this would not be easy if it weren't for you, right?
Yes, yes.
You have the mark. It purifies you from the miasma.
I totally forgot about that
cursed.
point of the Lycaon curse, right?
Yep.
Can't get cursed.
Like, you know what I mean? So, like, that's really cool that they go into a raid boss kind of situation where it kind of excels in that, you know, poisonous damage over time, you know what I mean, kind of effect, because that is really strong in normal circumstances, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
environmental effects, attrition
Yeah.
is such a good way to deplete your players or your opponents of resources and force them to use up resources, which I think is like a very core component to like an MMO game.
Yes.
You have to burn resources, you have weapons of durability, all that crap.
Yes.
It's just like, I love those kind of things.
They're just, the creative team is just such a good storytelling machine, because, you know, all of this information that we get about the game that is relatable to us in the real world as MMORPG gamers and just like RPG, you know, enthusiasts in general, it's like we see a lot that's familiar here, but like it's not just pseudo or, you know, like made up words that are similar to like real world MMORPG mechanics like we see in other, you know, video game manga. We see, you know, like they don't actually say aggro, but they have a different term for it, things like that. We actually get all of that jargon inside of Shangri-La Frontier on top of legitimate mechanics exposition, but it's always perfectly paced. It doesn't feel like just raw data.
It feels natural.
Yeah,
like
it
they
feels
worked hard
natural
to make the cadence of conversation fit.
And they weave it into, you know, the self-awareness of the medium that they're, you know, operating inside of, and they know that there's a certain pace to things. You can't just lay down, you know, all of this exposition in times where you really want to, in times of conflict where characters are fighting and engaging in this video game and tons of mechanics are being used at the same time, and all of these numbers and values, you know, are popping up on the screen. Like in an actual video game and MMORPG, there's so many actions per minute, and there's so many heads up displays and so many, you know, things that you have to keep track of, and you feel that in Shangri-La Frontier just enough. It's not all there like as realistic as it possibly can be, because then it would literally just be StarCraft with giant heads up displays everywhere all the time telling you all the actions that are happening. But like there's enough there to where it feels real, you're immersed, but it's also still a comic book and it has to flow a certain way, and that balance has just been perfectly achieved in Shangri-La Frontier, and it just makes it the most exciting thing that I'm reading right now because of that.
Yeah.
I love like the humor in this as well. Like it's just like, hey man, can you walk by yourselves?
Get
It's like,
the
nah,
fuck
man.
off me.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, we're piggybacking off you. This saves us a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm an air purifier.
Again,
now.
those resources you're talking about, you know, saving resources riding on you, buddy. You're stuck.
And in regard to the comedy, Sun Raku is just the perfect design for like funny faces. I think we've talked about that before. His like bird head is just like so good. It can work in serious times. He can look really badass with this bird mask, but he can also look really funny at the same time, like literally whenever it needs to happen. It's just a perfect.
Yeah, like like even just like page 5 and 6, right? Like top of page 5, he looks like Falco Lombardi, like an assassin version of that guy. Really cool. And then bottom of page 6, he's just like,
Yeah.
yes. I feel
bottom of page
tingly.
7 too.
That's no normal miasma. I like. What do you guys think of Humming Lich? Like as a.
Dude, what about these creature designs, bro? Like this Humming Lich design, it looks so like cool. A fucking magic card. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing.
I like the really grotesque long arms.
Yeah, the triple joint, the long arm tribe.
Long arm tribe shit. Yeah.
And it's just like just long, glorious hair.
Yes.
Body made out of miasma. Really
terrifying skull face. Very Junji Ito skull face is what is kind of like what it reminds me of, just in the level of detail and contrast.
I'm a big fan.
Oh shit! Oh, there it is. Yep, absolutely. Fuck yeah. That's Uzumaki.
I think it's the one oh shoot! It's the one with the guy is cursing.
Oh sure, yeah. I don't think I know what you're talking about. I haven't done that one. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, dude, that's sick. Dude, Junji Ito, master of horror. I feel like a lot of people, or a lot of mangaka, I'm not going to say that they don't realize it, but I am going to say whether they realize it or not, I feel like aesthetically kind of pull from Junji Ito's work whenever they're trying to be scary. You know what I mean? I feel like you have no choice but to, at this point, kind of find influence or inspiration in that.
I mean,
if you've
the
read
guy really influenced the genre. Like he's the face of the horror genre in Japan. Like, period.
Absolutely. But yeah, this lich design is crazy, son.
The humming lich is like such a great, evocative, creepy name.
Yeah.
Just because like
anything with lich in it.
No, like the humming part's the creepy part. Like it
just reminds me of,
like any if you go to horror movies, you always have that little sing song like 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you kind of stuff, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I like it acting in this giant black dome of miasma. It feels very much like if you played like Dot Hack GU, there's always those boss bubbles that you have to walk into.
It's in the original trilogy too. Yeah, like you get that throughout. Like I never played GU, but I did play Infection, Outback, Elimination, or not Outback, Outbreak. You know what I mean?
I played like half of the first Hack series, and then I played a bunch of the Dot Hack GU games.
But yeah, that's totally a thing in those games, and I feel like that's a thing just in all MMORPGs, so that you have a frame of reference for the area of effect, so that you can avoid it, if you need to. Like you always get those indicators, even if it's not a literal bubble of miasma, like you still get, red indicators or a visual indicator of the range, of your enemy's attacks. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, that's great.
But yeah, I thought it was dope the way, I forget this Smith's name.
Virak, yeah.
I like how Virak, just right on the fly. She's like, I'll show you what a Smith can do. Buffs up this decapitator.
Yes.
Shines it nice and pretty with the, she said she just buffed it with the holy water.
Yeah.
You think she legit buffed it? Like as far as like buffing off the rust and shit, and that's why it's so weak, because she took away a bunch of material and shit without being able to reinforce it back.
That's great. Yeah, I feel like that's literally, dude, that's a really cool play on shit if that's the case, because when you hear the word buff in an MMORPG manga, you assume that terminology is in regard to increasing its value to some degree in either an area of stats or an area of aesthetic or whatever. It's like a buff, like increase in quality. You know what I mean? But this is like literally, I have holy water. This shit is rusty as fuck. I have craftsman tools. I'ma literally physically buff this shit, with holy water. Like I never would have thought about that. That's fucking awesome. Man.
So I like it because it's super shiny now.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And he's like, but it wasn't a good job. I didn't like properly treat it. It has 8 HP, right? Like you hit it, it loses a durability. It has 8 durability. Like make those hits count. I like Senraku kind of like being that deft precision striker. And there's this part right here. Like I like the like cursed energy arms that they do. For the humming lich.
Oh yeah, when they come out of the ground. Yeah, fire.
I love little wave attacks in video games, and I can't tell based on the art, but I think that the staff it's holding has 7 jawbones lashed to the top, which it uses to summon 7 skulls that become the other members of its choir. And then they use more of the shadow miasma to form the weapons, and I really like that. That the only real weapon is the staff. I love the jawbones.
Yeah, that's so good. Wow, what a great observation. I definitely did not think about
brutal. And like 7-pointed star out of jawbones. If you look at it from a top down, I was like, ooh, that's creepy. I'm stealing that.
That's fire. Steal that. Use that in D&D, dude.
Absolutely, you bet.
Yeah, dude, that's incredible. Can we talk about the choreography in this chapter? I just want to say I think it was a brilliant decision to make Sunraku the kind of player that he is in regard to like what he values statistically, because he's all about speed, he's all about quick crits and making all of those attacks as powerful and as efficient as possible. It makes for very exciting choreography. He's always dodging things. The mangaka is like very highly skilled as an artist and has a very great choreographical like sense, you know, to the combat, you know what I mean? So like that
they convey octane really well.
Yes, exactly. That's a great way to put it. And that coupled with Sunraku's fighting style, you know, when you have Yusuke Murata tier art inside of your action, you know what I mean, and your choreography, and you just have, you know, a character that's very speed of sound Sonic, you know, about the way that he fights, you know, it feels very like, you know, much like One Punch Man in the action in that regard, you know what I mean?
It's like
that's
page 9,
always a great
page 9 and
problem to
10,
have.
right?
Yeah.
Like that's fantastic. Watching him zip around, be small compared to the boss. The boss is a very looming figure within this fight. So like I like the angles for the camera.
Yeah, just the sequence from page 14 when the Lich conjures the other heads into, you know, equipping them with the different miasma weapons, surrounding Sunraku, and then attacking Sunraku, and Sunraku dodging in all of these after images. The contrast of the Lich with the black miasma and like the very light colors of Sunraku and Elam with like the screen tones behind them giving that soft gray that really makes all of the colors involved pop drastically. It's just brilliant.
Because the gradient stream really contrasts those like warp mist. I like Virak's positioning where bottom 15 she's facing away, you go turn 16 she's still facing that direction while she throws the weapon.
Absolutely. Oh my god, I didn't get to talk last time because I wasn't here. Elam's fight, or I'm not Elam, but Virak's fighting style with the hammer.
Oh, dude, she's a bruiser. She's
bro.
Yeah, the hammer moves are drastic.
The hammer moves were bro. Conjure the hammer, splash the holy water. There was like one panel where she's just like, let me get this on here real quick.
She literally hit that guy with a small sedan, like a small like Yaris, right? She took a small car on a stick and just smacked the dickens out of him.
It's the technique of the swinging of the sword, because we see hammer wielders all the time, and this is, you know, shaped very much like a one-handed hammer, but she's small, so she uses it with like two hands or whatever, and like a fucking, you know, baseball player style, you know, swings, you know what I mean? Like we see hammer users, like they do the Thor, boom, crush you, you know, into the ground, or boom, uppercut you or something like that. And where we see like the giant, we see the giant long shaft hammers, you know what I mean? Where you just spin to win, you know what I mean? Or you like bring it down in like a Toon Link down A, fuck you, you know, or something like that.
Get the fuck out of here.
You smash, bro? You smash, bro?
Little backstory on that. Nox was absolutely terrified of my Toon Link in Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
I wasn't terrified.
Bro,
I wasn't terrified. I was fed
got
up.
to a point where
1v1 me,
nobody would let
Final
me play
no
Toon
items.
Link because Toon Link literally had over 10k more fucking knockouts than any other character in the game.
And just overpowered mechanics and fucking unbalanced character, bro.
We're not even gonna get.
And while we're here, no.
Nox is a bitch.
We'll tie it back. We'll tie it back to the comic. He would spam the down A's with fucking Toon Link.
Perfect. Yeah, I would use the down A's, up A's, side B, all of it.
Hey, anyway, you had a pattern, you had a routine. We all know it. People who were there understand. Anyway, we see hammer users fight in a lot of different ways, but it's just really cool that Virak, a character with the size of a body that makes a lot of sense as a hammer user to just use, you know, vertical boom, you know, with the legs poking out as you like slam down. Like we see that kind of combat all the time in small characters with big weapons, but she's a small character with a big weapon that uses it, you know, like a bigger person, you know what I mean?
Like King DDD, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Like King DDD, exactly
Fully
like King DDD. Oh my god.
Rocket hammer.
I just love her fighting style. I love the decision to make her very competent in regard to like how you would expect someone not of her stature to use a hammer. It's just a great, cool, awesome character.
And it
I
also,
like
yeah,
it.
just fits her personality really well.
It
Like,
does
I feel
fit
like
her
she's the
personality
type of
really well.
character who is gonna be like, "Hurrah!" when she hits a motherfucker with it, like,
Yeah.
"Hurrah!"
She's got a blunt personality, and like she uses blunt weapons. Like it makes sense.
Hey, love that.
Like magic is a soft power because it can use a lot of different stuff. Elm is more fluid and
Yes.
wishy-washy, influenced by words.
Love it.
Specifically magic. Like she's like, I don't know about this, and he's like, I'll give you a carrot, and she's like, what, really?
Yeah. It's like, all right, bet.
It was adorable.
Yeah.
A bit of page 9, but like I love Yurak's fighting style because it reminds me of like the parts I like about like Monster Hunter or Bloodborne with like the big hammer weapons. I just love the charge and just like big swing, big knockback, pow. Like I love.
You
that
can
kind
feel
of
the
stuff.
weight of the swings. It's very kinetic.
Feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good.
It feels
I've
great.
been wanting to get back into Monster Hunter World lately, man.
Hey, it's about to be MMO season pretty soon. Ashes of Creation is in alpha now, and that's gonna be probably my main. You know
Build
what I mean?
Sunraku in this game.
Hey, watch me. But yeah, man.
Oh man.
What an incredible chapter for everything it was trying to do. It's very adventurous. I love where we're at. It doesn't feel as like coming out of the Wazaimon arc, you had this feeling of such high stakes. You know what I mean? Because it's a Colossi. We legitimately didn't know for a lot of that fight if they were actually going to succeed, because the game can very easily allow you to just be killed and destroyed and you lose, and there's not that detriment of if we lose we legitimately die like in most of the other stories that we review. So when they're going up to it, it's like, no, they actually could lose. You know what I mean? And it makes a lot of sense for them to lose based on what we understand. So there was just a lot more ominous vibe to the Wazaimon arc. But then going into this, it's just right back to like things that you expect, you know, like from a series like this. Adventure, we're actually going out. The stakes aren't too high. It's very important what we're doing, but we're not literally facing a Colossi. We're like super leveled up. This is a time to show off what we got from the Wazaimon fight. Very similar to like a post-time skip Fishman Island kind of arc coming out of an arc like Marineford.
I like the stakes are literally his. He's like, I'm gonna get an achievement. He's like an achievement hunter, right? So he's like, it's a bonus, a challenge quest, and he's just like, I'm gonna treat it like an achievement. I only got this shot, and otherwise, we're probably just gonna bounce because we can't affect each other. And I'm not gonna just have Elam shoot blasts forever.
Yes, exactly. I just love how we're at a fun point where it doesn't matter that we know Sunraku is going to clear all of these obstacles leading up to, you know, whatever main event that we're going towards. Like,
I just want to watch him stunned.
I just want to watch him flex. Yes, like that was Zaimon shit was so butt clenchy, and it was so like, holy fuck, this feels so heavy and major. And then now it's a lot more lighthearted character development, skills showing off, more mechanics introduced, more world building. It's just right where Shangri-La Frontier needs to be right now, in my opinion.
I think it's also a specific choice on the author's part to have these follow-up enemies also be undead. And just be like, hey, you know, this is the wind down. We killed the top undead. Now we're just going to clear out everyone else in the roster.
Love it.
Like,
Love it. Hell yeah.
Fantastic.
Do we have anything else?
I think that's about it.
I'm just looking forward to those skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, getting into Kaiju number 8, chapter 42. I always forget that there's no titles on Kaiju number 8 chapters, but this shit was awesome.
It really was. Bug splats all over the place.
Yes.
Good gore.
I always
good
love
combat.
to see bug, insect gore. I fucking hate bugs, so whenever they're being destroyed, I'm like, yes, get them out of here. You are doing what I could not possibly do. Like, I'm sitting here going through this, I'm like, I did not know that there was going to be insectile, or like spider kaiju are probably coming. Oh my god, I'm not excited for that.
I don't like those
Nope.
at all.
Nope.
So
I'm here for the spider kaiju.
You're a menace.
so Shinomiya,
Yeah.
I love her in like pages 6 and 7.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's not enough. Vice Captain Hoshino was even faster. Captain Ashiro's attacks had more weight. Like with the battle axe and fighting these bugs, it literally reminds me of All You Need Is Kill.
Haven't seen that. Haven't done that one.
It's like a reincarnation series where this guy gets stuck in a loop for a day, the same day over and over again, and or like same set of time. Like he comes back in the same day, and every time he dies, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna live. I'm gonna like get through this, break through this, and he's just like goes into like this hardcore like murder frenzy grind mode, and he's just like, no, faster, more, I need to be better, I need to be more and he just becomes like, because like he just becomes an insane warrior because he keeps like learning from his failures, pushing himself to the limit every single time. And like the armor and the weapon actually kind of reminds me of that. Like I feel like this is a little bit of a throwback to that series. Because they're fighting monsters. You should check it out. I think it's by the guys who did Death Note. The art seemed very similar.
Shit. Okay. Tsugumi Oba, I think, is the artist on that.
I'm
but
absolutely
can never
terrible
remember
with names.
The author.
Right?
Yeah. But I know going into your point on Kikaru though, I love Kikaru in this chapter, and it's been a while since I've kind of thought about her as a character, you know, like analytically, because like she was introduced, you know, as like a tsundere, like it was a very familiar introduction for a character like her. She comes from high-ranking military family and wealth, and she's very cocky. She's very confident in her abilities, and you know she sees
daddy's girl.
Yeah, she sees the main character and she shit talking him. So we kind of like assume what that relationship is going to kind of be like. But the way that it kind of like veers, you know, off that path is inside of her relationships with other characters that we're kind of seeing in this chapter. She's developing a rivalry with the other, you know, female kaiju hunter. I can't remember her name off the top of my head right now. I don't even know if we've actually gotten it yet. But I'm just
Shinomo.
Oh, Shinomo.
Shinonome.
Oh, Shinonome. Okay, great. Thank you. So yeah, so like you have her and her relationship with Narumi, you know, the #1 division, you know, captain or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's cool that we're seeing her character branch off and have what we're going to probably assume to be, which we can safely assume to be very strong, you know, relationships with these other characters. Whereas most of the time inside of tsunderes or tsundere characters, the mangaka, I feel like, gets wrapped up a lot in just focusing on the relationship between the tsundere and the main character. So like you don't really get, you might get one other relationship, you know what I mean, or one other kind of plot point related to the tsundere, you know, but it's basically all about the lead up to that relationship, going from hating each other and wanting to tear each other's heads off to, you know, whether it's a platonic or romantic, you know, loving relationship, you know what I mean? But inside of here, it's like she's got a lot of things going on inside of her character.
Tsunderes don't really get a lot of peers.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
One of the things I like about this series right now is that like the girls always get like super big badass weapons.
Mm-hmm. Yep, love it.
Like Shinonome, Gatling gun.
Yes.
Kikaru, giant battle axe.
Yeah, and even Mina got the giant blicky.
She's got like a. She's got like
the tiger got to get behind her and prop her up because she's like,
she has like almost like an anti-air rifle.
Yeah, for real. It's like an RPG sniper.
She's got like an actual fucking rail gun.
Yeah,
some Gauss. Yeah.
No, but yeah, Kikaru at the beginning of this chapter, man, like I got so fucking hyped up when she's like, "Oh, I'm up first." Then hits the button, grabs the axe. Yeah. Kikaru Shinomiya heading out. Yo, I'm like, let's fucking
that
go,
heading
bro.
out panel is so good,
so nice, bro.
So
drastic.
Good, yes.
With the lightning, just the serious look on her face. She's like, I'm about to fuck shit up right now. And then I thought it was funny as fuck when, you know, obviously Narumi's like, all right, keep an eye out. If shit goes south, provide backup. She's like, Roger, that's. Shit, yo, hey, she got one.
And then while she's gawking, one sneaks up behind her and she's on point. Gets that one out of here. Shoots it. Ping, ping, ping. Like, you should watch your back, bitch.
You should watch your back, bitch. She didn't say it like that.
I know she didn't say it like that, but like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, Shinonome got like, has the little stress
I'm taking your spot.
I'm taking all of y'all's spots. This whole division is gonna be mine.
Dude, I love the kind of like tit for tat camaraderie that's going to develop out of that. I like the reactions like, hey, is this really her first year? She's like stronger than you in your first year, isn't she, Narumi?
Yes.
She's like, no, don't say that.
And I love shit like that. I love when they do compare, you know, feats of their past to, you know, other characters, because it's like Narumi is fucking cold. bro. You know what I mean? Like, we know he's number one. Like, there's no dispute there. But Kikaru, we got this little dialogue bubble here that's like, she was doing better than you did at this exact same point in your career. And it's like, oh, shit. Like I'm so
Kaiju
excited.
Number 8 is very much a shonen series because it's always about like, hey, this is the next generation. Like the Kaiju are evolving, right?
Yeah.
There's a new generation of Kaiju. There's a new generation of Slayers.
Yeah.
Like that's so good. And it's like I love that part of shonen manga so much.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, this is the new. We can be better than we are at present. We can be better than the past.
Yes. Generational shit like that, you're right, is always inside of shonen. I want to talk about fucking Kafka, man, because Kafka's so great in this chapter. I
don't know, before we go into that, I just wanted to just appreciate, what the fuck, I'm blanking on the captain's name now.
Narumi,
Gin Narumi. I wanted to appreciate just the deduction we get from him in this chapter, where he's like, man, like this type of kaiju doesn't typically come to the surface. Like, you only rarely see them in like tunnel excavation projects, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even then it is rare.
First time in history.
For this many to pour onto the surface like that, for like you said, the first time in history, like it's really fucking odd. And he's like, I'm betting this motherfucker's here somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Because this literally just happened. You had the Wyvern or Drake style kaijus, that flew in
that
with
don't
Kaiju
ever
number
group
10
up.
that don't ever group up, but then Kaiju number 10 rallied them and brought them to the base. So they have that history there, and they're like, okay, well, if it's abnormal that these Kaiju are grouping up now, it makes a lot of sense that it's a very similar situation as to what we just dealt with however long ago.
But yeah, and then we get I like the dialogue here from him. I'm guessing it is around here.
Yes.
A hellacious leader pulling the strings with a clear intent in mind.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, they caused those ants to carve a giant hole in the ground to collapse an entire city block.
Yeah. But you're right though, Eagle. I love this spotlight on Narumi. I think that they're very conscious to make sure that you show his capabilities as a number 1 division captain.
Competence.
Not only his combat abilities, but his mental ability.
Good mind, good body, terrible personality.
Right, yeah. Yeah, dude, that's incredible. But yeah, going back to Kafka though, I just love his personality on that's shown on page 12 when it's like, neutralization squad, you're up, and he's like, all right, boom, and then you get the smacks his face. It's like, you know what I mean? Like he's an older main character than we're used to, but he just it has like the total essence of a shonen main character and all of the qualities.
He's got spunk.
Like just giving him that panel where he slaps his face, it's like wholesome and it's like hype. And it's like, dude, I fucking love this guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's trying so hard, and he really wants this. And the mangaka really knows how to show that through facial expressions and body language. You know what I mean?
I like that he's conveyed as not a trained, dedicated, out for blood killing machine. Yeah. Because, like, Kiriko, she got that, like, cold-blooded entry, moving out kind of thing. And it's like, I like the contrast to that. Especially, like, his, like, humanity, his compassion, his weakness, his fear of losing control is really holding him back. I like that development a lot. I was not expecting that at all.
And I like how you can tell that the commander, Shinomiya commander, he's like, he knows what's going on. He's like, oh, he's not transforming fully. Yeah. This motherfucker's scared of himself type shit.
Yeah, he's like, he beat the shit out of me a little bit more than he kind of wanted to. So now he doesn't want that to happen ever again. So now it's kind of like after Thanos beat up the Hulk in Infinity War, now in Endgame, Hulk can't really come out. He can't like fully manifest, in his true form because he was shook, you know what I mean? Because Thanos whooped him so bad. So it's like a similar situation to that.
I love that.
That's cool.
I love that.
That's cool. It was weird. It was weird in the MCU, but it works here.
It
works so well.
I thought it was so fucking weird.
Yeah,
like, come on, Hulk.
I didn't like that.
Bitch,
Hulk. Yeah, you're the last one. You're the last one that should be doing this.
Yeah,
I didn't like
break the Hulk like that's crazy.
Like never.
Thanos really raped.
I think
his
it's a very
ass
human weakness.
Holy shit.
I like this play on conviction. right? Like the guy's like he doesn't have the conviction of what he was doing. He was so sure of himself in the beginning of the series, right?
Yeah.
He was so sure of himself. He's like, you know what, I can do this. And now he's like doubting himself. I love that doubt is a weakness. Lack of conviction is a weakness.
Yes.
Like his like
because he's so overpowered physically as Kaiju number 8 that you have to give him these setbacks mentally so that you can create that drama, because he's had the physical answer for literally every obstacle that he's faced, including Kikuru's dad. You know what I mean? So like, if he can even beat Kikuru's fucking dad at that low experience level, obviously, yeah, you know what I mean? So like, you have to give him these kind of setbacks so that you can create the theater that the series needs to be compelling. You know what I mean?
Yes. But yeah, when we got the panel of him, like basically the transformation failing, I was like, oh shit, bro, damn, he's about to get scraped out. And then he does like get smacked into the fucking wall. He's like, shit, bro, the fuck.
Yeah,
I love the art for that page, because like 18, it looks like he's hard, like, you know, he's growing his shell, he's getting hard, and then it's brittle. It like flakes off,
shatters.
It's like he's like, I'm gonna be hard, and he's like, nah, man, you're brittle right now. Like don't front. Like
yes, and let's double down on that by just like crushing you into a building while you have like no protection except for the suit that you can't even bring out 1% of.
Yep, and
so you know he felt that. Yeah.
The play-by-play is like, the transformation failed. We get Kikuru like, what the fuck?
What? Yeah.
Elder Shinomiya like, what the fuck is going on?
I see this. I like how Kaiju 8 beelines for Kafka.
Or Kaiju 9.
Kaiju, is it 9 or 10?
It's 9, because 10 was the giant one, the Uvogan Kaiju that Hoshino fought.
Yeah. The one that looked like a Gundam.
Yeah, for real. But
Gundam
this
Zilla,
one, this is, I think this is 9, and we know this is 9 because they identified him like right away. And then 10 was the one that we were shaky on. That's right, until it was confirmed. But
this guy's terrifying. 9 is scary.
Yes.
Yeah, the way he's like merged into the top of this ant's head, like controlling it, is fucking wild.
Very
This is probably the
Resident
queen,
Evil
right?
Village.
He
probably took over the queen, and that's how he's able to control the colony.
He's using their own pheromones against them.
Yes, assimilated into the queen. Absolutely. This is giving Phalanx arc from. Did you guys ever watch the '90s X-Men TV show?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, there's like a really the '90s one. There's like a really recognizable, like solid black, bright yellow. I can't remember his fucking name for the life of me right now, but it was like the Phalanx Covenant, and they like the whole arc was about how they like assimilate things into their like bioorganic.
Warlock.
Fuck yes.
He was Warlock.
Thank you.
And then he teamed up with a kid and became Cypher.
Yes, absolutely.
Because the kid could read all language, and he was a creature of data.
Yes.
And so between the two of them, they became buddy cyborg fusioneers.
But Warlock's race, the Phalanx Covenant is, a techno-organic species that assimilates things into its biomechanical kind of, symbiote, like kind of like
they
hive
were like
mind.
symbiote.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So like it was like a hive mind like that, and this is like totally reminding me of that in Kaiju number 8 right now, just because of the way it's like melded and into the Kaiju.
If Eagle is right, that the Kaiju he's fused onto is like a queen ant Kaiju, I can't wait for him to start flying and spewing acid. And then also, probably beyond the acid, using his hands to shoot those like projected bullets while that's still going on.
Oh,
he's
probably gonna that's...
I want to see it. I want to see streams of acid. I want to see air bullets. I want to see flying. I want to see this weird, terrifying centaur-like creature. I want the mandibles crushing around Kafka's neck.
Yeah.
What's weird though is that like he doesn't even have his arms.
Yeah, his arms are
he's
like
forming them.
I think he's coming out of the ant right now, and he's not fully formed, right? Yeah. He's like bubbling out right now.
Yeah.
The way I think this is gonna go, I think since Kafka is so weak right now and can't transform, I think what we're going to see is obviously people are going to start getting fucked up by Kaiju number 9. And then someone's going to get fucked up to the point where it allows him to come out of that anxiety and transform properly to save the day. And if that is the case, and like that is kind of how the flow of it goes, then I'm worried about the future of Kaiju number 8 inside of how predictable the events can be. And I'm not saying that it's been predictable so far. This is just a prediction that I feel like really strongly about, just based on the information that we have right now. And we were talking about how he has to have these mental setbacks to kind of like counteract how overpoweredly strong he is as Kaiju number 8. And if this is going to kind of be, you know, the repetition of it, or not repetition, but like kind of like the cycle of like how conflicts have stakes. You know what I mean? It's either going to be Kafka can't, you know, tap into all of his abilities for whatever reason, you know, whether it's a physical or a mental thing, until somebody gets hurt and then he, you know, turns up and deals with it. Or if they're just going to do like the Saitama One Punch Man thing, where he's just like not always around where he needs to be, and you have to let, you know, the B cast kind of shine in their way until he can pull up and finish it. I feel like that's like one of two ways it can kind of go until we start getting more drastic kaiju threats that can overpower him individually. You know what I mean?
I feel like this one is going to be like follow the kind of script that you're kind of laying out, but I feel like he's going to like be like, I need to save them. He does like a huge burst of energy. He does like maybe 2-3 hits.
Yeah.
2-3 big blows, knocking the guy, maybe destroying the wings or the legs, you know, forcing him to ground him.
Yeah.
And then he has that moment of doubt again, de-transforms. After he's like, okay, I'm winning, I'm doing this. I was like, am I going too far? And then that moment he like sheds his power.
Yeah, like accidentally again.
He takes like a air bullet to the chest or something like that. Barely survives. Narumi shows up, chops the big guy in half, and then the guy is a parasite, so he just slips away.
Yeah, Orochimaru,
and then comes back.
Naraku.
Yep. He definitely has to do the Naraku Orochimaru thing. This guy's a slippery little
Throw
parasite.
some branches and disappear.
Pocket bees.
Yeah.
I got you again, Bats.
Oh, Batsy.
Batsy.
You'll never catch me. Oh, man.
Riddle me this, Batman.
Yeah, this is intense though, but like I'm excited because like this is like these are the kind of cliffhangers that I'm most excited about, when I'm like super confident about how I think something is going to go, and not because I'm trying to be cynical or I'm trying to like, you know, say like, oh, this series is predictable or whatever, but like when I just have a really strong feeling about how I think a next chapter is going to go. And then I feel like a lot of people kind of like, when I talk to them, they're like, yeah, I could totally see that happening. I think that makes the most sense. And then the mangaka doesn't do that and does something else that's better. You know what I mean? Like I literally love when that happens, because it's like, those subversions are what I feel like separate, you know, because everyone thinks they can be a writer. You know what I mean? Like that is the one thing that everyone thinks they can be at some point in their life. Like rapper, ball player, writer, like that's all, or, you know, musician, you know, whatever. Like those are all things that people are like, anyone can do that as long as you can just do it. You know what I mean? As long as you just go put in the time. You know,
subversion of archetype and convention is the best form of writing.
Yeah.
Everyone tries it. We don't always do it very well.
Right.
Just where these authors truly flex and they separate the men from the boys. Like,
exactly.
Listen, you guys think that you can write these fucking stories, but listen here. You're thinking inside of a fucking jewelry box.
Yeah, exactly. It's like y'all sit here
I've got the vault.
Y'all review all these manga every week. Y'all think about this shit more than most people. You know, and you still can't fucking get us. You know what I mean? Like, type shit. And it's like, I love those flexes, bro. Because,
do you think that Narumi is going to take threatening damage?
No, because I don't want it to be a, like, rinse repeat of the last arc. Because Hoshina was literally a repeat of Hoshina then at that point. And I don't think Kaiju 8 will go there. I think Narumi will be super competent the entire time. I think because of his want for results and to see the skills of people, he will let, you know, the conflict kind of like he'll do everything he absolutely needs to do, but in areas where he has any wiggle room at all, I think he'll let people show what they're capable of, even if it comes to extreme diff. And then, but I don't think he himself will be like literal Hoshina from the last arc. So
I just thought of something.
yeah.
So like, you know how Narumi wants to use them as pieces and a power and tools? What if Kaiju 9 wants to do the same thing with Kafka and tries to like parasite hijack his body?
Oh,
well, he wants
and the real battle is control of like who's in control here. It's like that Bleach moment. Are you the king or the horse?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I thought, didn't we get the panel of dialogue from him? Like, it was just a offhanded panel of him, like, oh, I'm about to take that kaiju power back from this.
Yeah, he did say some shit like that. You're right. A couple
so like
chapters
with
ago.
his kind of invasive ability, I feel like this might be a thing where he's like, that'd be such a cool like Venom versus Carnage type thing where it's like 2 to 3 personalities fighting over a single body. That'd be insane.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
Hell yeah.
That'd be so fire.
Man. But other than that, this was a solid chapter.
Dummy good chapter.
I don't really have anything else to say. I mean, I love the melting street in page 18.
Yes, when he spits the acid.
Yeah, for sure. That shit looked beautiful.
The texture is beautiful.
Yes, the texture and the depth and the layers. You know what I mean? Like the 3D effect.
I like how the car is melting. You can see a bit of like what's left of the fender.
Of the bumper. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, so good, so good.
Yeah. Kaiju 8's art is very fun. It's very clean. It's very refined. It's very good, but it's also low detail in a lot more areas than you'd think, considering the level of technical, skill involved in all of the high detail areas. So I think that that artistic choice from the mangaka to give it that lighthearted shonen glow amidst all of that seinen level detail, it's a great balance. You know what I mean?
Page 13, older Shinomiya with like the logo of the anti-kaiju suppression defense force.
Yes.
Logo in the back of his head. I just love that it's like almost like a little crown, or like it kind of has like the King of the Cosmos kind of silhouette from Katamari Damacy.
Oh wow.
Just like hat.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. It's a little bigger too, but it also kind of looks like the top hat that 9 has.
Ooh. Foreshadowing? Foreshadowing?
Ooh, there we go. Okay.
Well, 13 and then the hat on page 24, 25, the double spread. Like, I could see that being foreshadowing where Kaiju 9 is gonna like go one-on-one against Elder Shinomiya.
I was thinking that he might pull up here, you know what I'm saying? Because he
sees what's going down.
He's on Kafka's side at this point.
Yeah, he fucks with Kafka for sure. Like,
I feel like he's gonna like observe only, and then maybe interfere in like the debriefing.
Yeah. That's possible.
That's about all I had for Kaiju.
Yeah, I'm good too, for sure. All right, final chapter of the night, Undead Unluck, chapter 74. Let's get this plan started. And this was a very feel-good chapter in regard to the character interactions that we get with Juiz and Andy and the rest of the team, kind of leading up to the cliffhanger that we get here. But this is something that I feel, this is an area that I feel like Tozuka really excels in between the action, of his series. Is these characters feel so real, these interactions are so organic, you never ever, and I know that it's still kind of early, it's before 100 chapters, so like characters acting out of character, would be a little bit harder to spot, the earlier in a series that you are, but like these characters just feel like real people. As wild and crazy as this story is, and how high, crazy fantasy is going on, in science fiction or whatever, like these characters are super relatable considering their circumstances.
Yeah, there's something common in them. That like, despite their extraordinary abilities, like despite like the high fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
And one thing that I just want to like mention that I really appreciate out of this series is that like page 2, Tatiana blasts everybody with the shell armor that she has, and I like that the artist
Untouchable,
has created the armor and the hair in such a way that it doesn't feel fan servicey at all. Having a naked ass young woman character, and it's just a little girl, right? Like I've read so much manga, and I feel like I have to wade through so much sewage to like find series that like respectfully and uncreepily portray characters of that gender and age.
Yes.
And I love that.
Very well said. Hit the nail on the head too, because like whenever the armor explodes, Tozuka likes to show the action of it exploding and like all of the details of what's going on with the characters involved in that explosion. Mainly like in this panel right here on page 2, you have and bring her back, boom, exploding out. The hair, is perfectly covering as it should because it's fucking everywhere. And then the way that the armor explodes out is covering certain parts too. You know what I mean? So you always see
a little
it like
bit of
that.
skin to be like, no, her whole thing is that she can't be touched by anything.
Right.
Okay, no clothes. Cool. But like it's done artfully and not in a cheap, demeaning way.
Yes. Very well said.
And can we just like talk about like kind of like the very human and very raw conversation that Juiz and Andy have?
Yes, very
and
mad,
like
visceral.
it takes 6 pages to have their conversation, right? Like actually 7 if you want to be
8
anal about it.
9, 10.
It's
it's literally 11 pages.
It's almost all the chapter.
Yeah.
And I love that. It gave me this vibe of like staying up late till like 4 a.m. with your friends talking about like real things that you don't really always fess up about or like address.
Yes.
And you're like, hey man, like, like this is what's going on in my life and this is how I'm feeling about a certain thing. And they're like, all right, that's fair. Well, you're talking to me, you're not alone, like
right.
we're here for you, man. And like I feel like it's so relatable. Like I like when Juiz squints at a little bit at Andy when he's like, some might not make it back alive, and she kind of narrows her eyes and she's like, all right, I'm seeing not the physical you, but like seeing where you're going with this, because I can see you as a person.
Right.
I can see who you are and see how you're trying to like frame this within your perspective.
And I love how there's logic on both sides, because it's like Andy is an immortal and he's old as shit. You know what I mean? So he's always kind of like been alone at the end of the day, in comparison to like the span of his life. Sure, he has groups of friends that come and go and age and die as time goes on, but he is a very lonely character in that regard. So he's always got to think of how to protect the people that are close to him because he's immortal, and there's so much value there in regard to defense and in regard to just using that experience to help keep the friends at the time alive. So like he's always thinking about things like that in that way because he has to. So naturally that would be his anxiety here inside of this situation where they're not going up against a Uma, they're not going up against one, motherfucker as a team. They're literally going up against an equivalent, an antagonistic equivalent of their faction. And they're and they're competent. They're all older. They're all more experienced. These are things that he has to think about. And the way that, despite all of his experience and how open-minded he probably is about variables and things like that, this is like legitimately the only way he could possibly think about this. You know what I mean? And Juiz comes in with a very simple retort related to emotion. You know what I mean? And like throws like all of his cold, calculating, multiple, century-long logic and just like throws a monkey wrench in it, and it just feels fine. It doesn't feel like, cliche, like, oh, we're your friends, so we're going to be here anyway. There's like actual logic applied to what she's saying too, and there's just deeper writing than you usually see inside of these kind of interactions.
Well, and what adds even more depth to the situation, obviously, is the fact that there's a past dynamic between Juiz and Victor.
Yes.
Right? Where like they had, a relationship in a way, and so Juiz really understands the person Andy is on a much deeper level than anyone else does, almost.
True too.
And she draws back the comparison after he kind of says how he feels about the situation and what he wants to do as far as people maybe losing their lives. And she's like, wow, you really are another undead, aren't you?
Yeah.
Victor used to think that way too. Just like, stay by my side. I won't let anyone die because I can't,
Yes.
And it just feels like two lovers reuniting, like maybe like 20 years after they break up. Like time and experience have changed them into different people, but they still really understand one another.
Yes.
And
there's that level of old intimacy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why on the double spread on 12 and 13, you see that Andy's card wound is like bleeding like hella down his cheek because Victor's shit is on brick right now. Hearing this conversation with him and Juiz.
I love the tear of blood.
Victor is like crying.
Something like that. Oh man, I went a little bit dirtier with it. But yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot more wholesome. I said that nigga was bricked up listening to this conversation with Juiz. But no, he probably, that might be a tear of joy and sentiment. Absolutely, that'd be really cool symbolism
Sympathy.
in that way. Yeah.
Especially because it's coming off of that ending dialogue of the conversation where she's like, look, we've made it further than we ever have. Like, I believe these are the best members of the organization ever, you know, that we've ever seen. So, like, I ask that you believe in them type shit. And, like, Victor obviously had abandoned that whole idea. So, the fact that
he wanted to take it all on himself.
Yeah. The crying, that's a lot
tear
more
of relief.
A lot more wholesome answer, yeah.
I love the tear of blood. Because it's like a little bit of like, because he did that when he accessed Victor. So I totally see where Vigel's coming from that.
Yeah. Vigel.
And I like...
no, just like you were coming out of Victor, and then it just turned into Vigel.
Yeah. I mumble sometimes.
Nah, it's all good.
But I like the kind of moment where like the vulnerability on like 8 and 9 is like, if like they're like not 9, end of 7. When it truly mattered, he was faint of heart. That one quality stayed the same through these loops, and it's like the two of you helped gain new perspective on this. Despite all the hardships, you trust and grew. In response to that, the others came to grip with themselves, work together, and can also grow.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, hey, like it touches on that idea that because like Victor and Billy, they believed that a hard individual, a person willing to do the things that were necessary, the ones that are willing to be cruel, were going to be the ones that were going to be successful. And I like that kind of train of thought where Juiz is like, vulnerability is not a sin. Vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's, seeds can't grow in hard soil.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not here for a quick crop. We're here to like lay some foundations.
Absolutely.
We're growing a tree.
Yeah.
And so like I really like that kind of tenderness, and I'm here for tender good guys. I love that. I think that's very important. Like in classic shonen manga, it's all about who's the strongest, who's the most dedicated, who's the most focused on whatever.
Right.
But this one's like, I like this like generational shift. In manga today, where Kafka has doubt and is an older person.
Yes.
Deku is a crybaby and
has to take the weight of the world on his shoulders.
Yeah, Takamichi,
yeah, absolutely,
is very tender.
Yeah.
I love seeing characters like that. I love because it feels more real.
Yes.
Right. So you can have those real emotions, and that allows you to have all these fantastical elements still seem somehow grounded.
Yes. Wow, well said. Let's talk about these cloaks, man. Come on. When I saw them pull up like Organization 13 in this bitch, hold on, man. This shit looks crazy.
These cloaks
I'm gonna get your paw.
Yeah.
And I also really love the aesthetic of the matchup panels that we get.
Yes.
Where I
like the cameraman behind everyone. Yeah.
As we've talked about on the show before, like these superimposed text on the panels when the abilities are kind of being mentioned.
Confidential.
Always super
is so
fucking
cool.
sick. Uninvestigating, unconfidential. And I didn't realize that we literally had no information on this union member's ability.
Nico?
Yeah, Nico.
Yeah, we talked about it.
We have speculated on Nico's
times.
ability, actually, multiple times on this show.
But we've never had anything.
I can't remember. We've had some fire conversations about what Nico can do, even back when like Kiko was still on the show regularly. And I just can't for the life of me remember anything cool that we fucking said about it. Because I feel like one of us pretty much had it like spot on, and we're just waiting for the confirmation.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the uninvestigating ones are cool to me. Like, yeah, just this always with the superimposed ability text is very nice aesthetic.
And I love the brushstroke, like, effects on the stark blacks of like the font and
spackling almost.
Yeah, it's like like a spackling. Yeah, it's like you're just like slapping it with the brush.
Addition to that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's
I
like
love
always
texture
cool.
on that.
I love it too, man. And I like always play around with fonts and like when I'm on my graphic design shit, you know what I mean? Like different blending options and effects and shit. And I just love seeing, the techniques used that I'm like familiar with, you know what I mean? Because it's like, dude, I could totally, I'm ready to make a manga shit. You know what I mean? Type shit.
Everyone thinks they could be a writer.
Yeah, for real.
No, I love these double spreads. I like the cloaks, and I like that they have the kind of like underpin on the back of the cloaks. And I think that's probably either like a technological tool, like almost like a communicator.
You mean Union?
Yeah, the Union.
Well, that's their typical badge that they do use as
their communicator. Right?
Yeah, that's their communicator.
I like that the communicators are all at the base of the neck.
Yes.
Close by so they can communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the back though, that seems weird. You got to be like.
No, because I feel like on the back is still within earshot. Like that's like the same distance as like,
Do they not got to do anything to it to activate it?
I think it might be.
But it's
that
like
might be related to Nico's ability.
Oh yeah, because I'm pretty sure Nico's a technopath. You know what I mean? Like he's definitely can communicate with technology, to some degree, or it's something related to memory or something related to. I think we said. I can't remember.
What if his powers understand?
Oh, God. No, because you have to be negating something with everything.
But he levitates on these black balls, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's just tech. I think that's just tech.
Does he not levitate on the ball? No, yeah, he's on the ball.
Yeah, I think that's just tech, though. I don't think that's related to a negator.
I thought the ball was unmove. Because he's practicing at the very first page of this thing.
Yeah, but that is like how they bounce through portals and shit. Or wait, no, that's just move, the Uma.
Yeah.
Unmove. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember right now. God damn it, you're gonna make me go back and like watch our fucking episodes and see what we said.
No worries.
Yeah, and Nico's not even in the room when he's balancing on the ball here as Buddy's running on the treadmill. Tatiana's there with him.
Yeah,
and he looks a little shorter in the spread, so I think it is the kid's
name or Yeah, that's his ability. He looks at you, and like as long as he doesn't move, you can't move. That's right.
Yeah.
So he's just struggling to learn how to ride it. I think. Yeah. He's just working on his balance. So like, I think that this is just tech.
Yeah.
Which I believe, I can't remember if we talked about it or if somebody brought it up in my reaction when I read this. Like, it is a very important thing for him to learn how to do this as on move, because he can kind of get up on these balls, get a bird's eye view on the situation, looking down and unmove anything within the battle instead of being on a flat, especially since he's shorter. He's a kid.
And if he controls the ball like mentally somehow, and the ball is moving him, then that might not, untrigger his negator ability, because his body has to make the movement. But like if a ball that he's floating on is just moving him through space and his body hasn't actually moved at all itself individually, then
makes him stronger.
It might, that might be a way to, because we always see how Tozuka shows us how to counteract the weakness that your negator ability gives you. We had that dude who was invisible as long as he closed his eyes, but then he had that extra eye grafted on that allowed him to see while he was using his ability. We see that kind of shit like all the time in Undead Unluck. So like this could be the way to kind of supplement that caveat inside of Chikara. Chikara is his name. Inside of Chikara's negator ability, that might be the way you supplement that drawback, is with this technology.
But in the spread 14-15, the person floating on the ball is definitely Nico, because if you go to 18-19, he's on the ball.
Yep.
And Chikara is being carried.
Yes. Boom. There you go. Fire.
It's clear. I can see clearly.
Yes, and no, because wait a minute. No, because when Chikara and Andy and Fuko were fighting Latla and Rip in the Tatiana like yacht arc, Chikara was on Andy's back, and he stopped. So he shot the bullet, and then after he shot the bullet, he had Chikara look at him so that they were frozen, but they were falling at the same time. Yeah, that's right. They were always like they were fighting in the air, so they were moving, while Chikara's ability was stuck on Latla and Rip. But he individually wasn't moving his body, but he was still moving through space. So like that ball and Chikara combo, I think is definitely going to be something that we see that allows Chikara to be mobile while his ability is active.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely why he's practicing to balance on it here at the beginning of the chapter.
He's like, Nico can do it. It's probably training him as well. It's like, hey man, dance on the ball, dude. I'm a bear.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is. Wow. Big hype on the cliffhanger here. I don't know. I mean, besides like the big conversation between Juiz and
it's heavy
and Andy, which we kind of like already hit. Yeah, I feel like there wasn't a whole lot of shit to like speak on. You know what I mean?
It's the calm before the storm.
Yeah, definitely like a drastic setup chapter. Calm before the storm. Very apparent what is going on. You know what I mean? There's not a whole lot of like depth and like nuance and like quirky things to try to figure out like you're usually used to, and maybe there is, you know what I mean, for all I know, because it's Undead Unluck, but like usually inside of conflict and inside of like world building chapters you get a lot of subtle Easter eggs, foreshadowing and things like that like we have a lot of fun speculating on inside of these reviews. But this one was very straightforward. It was very preparation, conversation, cliffhanger. So I think that's
hold on, bro.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is goddamn Samurai Buddy?
Yeah, I know. Ishin, I think, is his name. He's never around.
He's not in this fucking squad panel.
Yeah.
He's not there.
Yeah,
he's
totally not.
He's probably gonna run into the other samurai.
That, or it's like a fucking
sneak stealth operation.
Split push. Yeah, it's like a split push where
flank.
a flank type shit. Like they got him around back, or something like that. He's about to go do some like Mr. Prince shit. You know what I mean?
Maneuver. What am I, a tank commander?
Yeah.
Because that's a good we haven't seen him do anything, and they even give us this panel of uninvestigating, unconfidential, uninvestigating. He's not even in that shit.
Yeah.
But neither.
Why the fuck are they holding his shit so much?
The samurai woman that Andy used to date.
That's right.
Maybe.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So those three are off screen. It's gonna be there. I think that guy's going for Fuko, right?
Yeah, that's a good point, Mello. I mean, there's a great spot, Eagle, but it's also a great point, Mello, that there are under members that are also off screen. So
that Puri prisoner girl, yeah.
Yeah, so they're split, and they'll probably be boxing or shown their positions in the in the next chapter, and it'll be like a continuation of this double spread that we got on 16-17 to some degree. But yeah. Fire.
Ooh. I think great chapter.
Yeah, did you guys have anything else?
I think that's about it for me.
No, I just really enjoyed that heart-to-heart moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was totally necessary.
Yep,
yeah,
right on time.
The Juiz and Andy conversation was the highlight of the chapter.
Absolutely.
So wholesome.
For sure.
Absolutely. Tozuka in the bag once again.
People can't accomplish anything on their own.
What'd you say?
I love that line. It's like, people can't accomplish anything on their own.
Yeah.
That goes for merely surviving and, of course, for killing God as well.
Yeah.
And it's like...
It's deep.
Community.
Yeah.
I love that. Community is important.
That's super deep. Yeah. Because it's like unless you live in the wild... you know what I mean? Even if you're wild. Yeah, even in the wild, actually, you're still relying on other living things. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But all right, I think that'll do it for the conversation tonight, gentlemen. Another bang out combo, if I do say so, ourselves. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure that if you are a special grade member, that you do link your Discord to your Patreon so that you can come hang out with us in the special grade area. of the Discord. And once again, major shout out to all of our subscribers that are subscribed at this level of content on Patreon. Couldn't do it without you guys. This is incredible content that we love doing, and we hope that you guys are enjoying it. So, and we're glad that you're enjoying it. But that's gonna do it. Wrapping up. I'm your host Knox.
Igadu.
And I'm Mellow Yenis.
Peace, y'all.